Welcome, everyone. I'm here with Mr. Ryan Poole. We're going to be talking about the great state of Florida tonight, and most importantly, what that looks like for Canadian investors. And specifically, Ryan's in South Florida, concentrated in West Palm Beach, and I know he's doing deals, up and down from Miami to West Palm. But I think we're going to talk about West Palm here and the areas around that, and why it's such a cool area. And I've been down to visit a couple of times too, and I'm looking at properties in the area, and it's fantastic. I think there's opportunity there. And for those of you in the GTA, I think this might resonate with you. If you think about Miami being like Toronto, West Palm is 45 minutes, an hour away by car, depending on traffic, of course. But think about West Palm like Hamilton. It doesn't have the same stigma that Hamilton once had, but it's a little bit further away, but has so much potential, and it's growing like crazy. And there's so much great rental potential, and the rent numbers to me is what makes it most similar, because prices are significantly less, but the average rents are not that much less, which is why we do so well in places like a Hamilton and a Kitchener. So we're going to talk about some of those market dynamics so you kind of understand a broad picture of the area. I'm going to show you some research that I do with a site called AirDNA to find the best short-term rental data on specific properties and stuff like that. And I'm going to let Ryan talk in a second, introduce himself. He's going to talk about West Palm Beach area and show you some real-life examples of properties he's putting offers on himself, and clients are putting offers in every day. So without further ado, Ryan, introduce yourself. Again, I'm talking too much. Go for it, buddy.
No, Paul, thanks for having me on, and I'm excited here to be on this webinar with all of you. A little bit about myself here. Well, let me share my screen here. We just get started right into it, Paul.
Yeah, go for it.
Awesome. Everybody see that?
Yep.
All right. Yes. Like that. There we go. Now it's the full screen. Magic. So, I'm excited to be here, Paul. Thanks for having me. A little bit about myself, just so y'all know. I'm a northerner too. I actually grew up in northern Minnesota, but I've actually been down here in South Florida for over 25 years. And I tell you what, it's one of the best things I ever did was move to Florida. I grew up in northern Minnesota, a lot of snow, a lot of cold, a lot of gray. And, after being down here 25 years, it's definitely one of the best things I've done. And I've really immersed myself, luckily, in the South Florida lifestyle. I'm a big boater, big fisherman, love the ocean. I free dive. Pretty much all my activities surround being outside. Also a big hunter, so I spend a lot of time in the woods here, which people don't think of South Florida hunting, but the outdoors is definitely a great reason why I moved to Florida. But I also love culture. It's a great culture here in South Florida, and something that really attracted me is you have an international people from all over the world here live in South Florida, especially in West Palm Beach. So definitely excited to share with you guys of South Florida and what's happening down here. So I work with a lot of Canadian investors. I've actually been working with Canadian investors here in South Florida for almost 15 years now. I know Paul, we have mutual friends that they bought real estate together down here in South Florida, and all those good things. So let's get into it. So why are Canadians, or really any investors, buying here in South Florida? Well, there's some big, huge ones. Big one here is our climate. No, it's no surprise that a lot of people come down here to South Florida just for our climate, right? We have awesome winters here. It's almost like come November, which in about another month, it's going to be almost like somebody turns off a light switch. The humidity breaks and it starts getting nice, and people from all over the world start to come here. Big reason, tourism too. Like I said, it's a global destination. People come here to South Florida. Also here, a big one, our diverse market. We have a huge range of options, and I'm going to go over with you, from luxury condos, single family homes, short-term rentals, long-term rentals. There's just about anything to align with your goals. Now, here's a big thing. Now, say what you want about our governor, DeSantis, right? I know I don't want to make this into political, but we have a lot of great tax reasons to be here in South Florida. And this is a huge one, is we don't have any state income tax versus a lot of other states that other foreign investors would be looking at. Saves you a lot of money there with that, and a big reason a lot of Americans are moving here. okay, is because we don't have state income tax. I actually have clients here in the States that are headquartering their whole businesses here. The money they're saving just from not paying their state income tax, like from New York or New Jersey or Connecticut, literally pays for their whole lifestyle. A big reason too, a lot of foreigners buy here is Canadian, is the exchange. A lot of countries from all over the world love investing in American dollars. And of course, they see investing in US real estate, like putting their money into an American bank. Of course, when they sell it, it's in American dollars, right? And stable appreciation. This is a big one. If you look at Florida's history, like on a 20, 30, 40, 50-year window, it's been some of the best appreciation of anywhere in the United States. All right, so let's get right into it. Here, part two, international appeal. We went over that. Diversification, strong rental market. Can't say enough thing here about our rental market down here. I've never seen it stronger. There's actually close to 1,000 people a day that are moving to Florida. Okay, when you think about that, they all need places to live, right? They're all looking for places to rent. So that's a big one. Our infrastructure and amenities. I know we talked a little bit of this about the beginning of the call, but we're making big infrastructure plays here in South Florida. One of them is our new Brightline train station, which is right here in West Palm. There's one in Fort Lauderdale, one in Miami. They just finished the one in Orlando, and now they're going to be building Tampa. So we now have a high-speed train here in South Florida, bring you down to Miami from West Palm, less than an hour. You're down there. Cool thing is, let them take care of everything. You can have cocktails on the plane. I tell you what, I don't drive to Miami anymore. Don't want to deal with the traffic. Hop on the train. I'm there, like I said, in about an hour. So that's a huge thing. Some big infrastructure. Also, our legal environment, like I said, one big thing here, protected here, especially in South Florida. We have a great legal framework for real estate. Back in the old days, back in the 60s and 70s, they were selling swampland to people. They've definitely come a long way since then. We have a really great legal framework for real estate here. Big one too, like I said, is our capital appreciation. I model out 5%, equity growth on some of the models that I've done. But if you look at our traditionally, we've done a lot better than that. And big thing too is networking opportunities. South Florida is a home to a vibrant real estate community, some great communities to get plugged into, and all those kind of good things. All right, so let's get right into it. I love talking about this. So this is
just my hold on, sorry, just my 2 cents. If you guys didn't catch what Ryan was saying about the Brightline, that's a big deal. For those of us in the GTA here, just think about the GO train we have, but with way faster and being able to order dinner and cocktails on it. So if you live in Hamilton, right, you can hit Toronto in 45 to 60 minutes, enjoy a cocktail and grab some dinner, meet your friends, do your business, whatever it is, or go out for the night, leave your car at home, go out, party in Miami, and then catch a train back home, and then go all the way to Disney if you want to. So it's a bigger deal. And one other thing I wanted to mention about the taxes. I mean, we all know the tax structures are much more favorable to people like us who are self-employed, entrepreneurs, real estate investors, all that kind of stuff. One big one that I never realized until I started doing more research is there's no inheritance tax. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a big thing, especially for right now if you're earning cash flow. But like many of us on the call, I have a pile of properties here in Ontario, more than 10. And I'm thinking, holy crap, I have to take out a life insurance policy here just so I can pay the inheritance tax whenever my kids get that down the future. Like, it's a huge estate planning thing. And if I had 3 or 4 properties in Florida, I don't have to worry about that. And more importantly, my kids don't either. So I know that's not it's going to make your cash flow better. That shouldn't be why you make investment decisions. But I thought it was a really, really cool thing that most people are not talking about, and I think it's a big perk. Anyway, my perspective. Go ahead, buddy. Let's talk about some properties.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true. Do we have, I don't know if they have in Canada, we have what's called the 1031 exchange. So if you buy real estate, right, and you have a capital gain, you can then roll over that gain into another property, and you don't have to pay the gains on it. Now, here's a crazy thing that we even have here in the States, and people are taking advantage here in South Florida, is we have what's called opportunity zones. Okay. And these are areas that, especially here in Florida, that are kind of like up and coming areas. There's some areas here in West Palm that if you roll over your exchange into an opportunity zone and you hold that property for 10 years, you pay no capital gains.
Wow.
I know. So there's huge tax advantage, obviously, too. And I don't know how deep we want to get into the presentation, but like, you've cost appreciation on your properties, right? So you don't really pay any kind of, tax, in your first 2 or 3 years of owning, rental properties. You can take all that up front. So there's a lot of great incentive there that we have tax wise as we go. And yeah, but I can't, I don't want to undersell this enough is, the quality of life, right, that we have here. I have a lot of Canadian investors, a lot of investors from other parts of the country, Midwest, that come down here, invest in properties, and then use them as well. And I'm going to give you some scenarios here too on those. So this is a real world example. This is actually a property that I'm working on putting under contract. Hopefully tomorrow. We got an offer out there on this one. This is 17 South L Street in Lake Worth Beach. This is just south of West Palm. You're really close to West Palm. We're talking about 15-minute drive. So this is 4-unit multifamily with a 1-1 and 3 studios. The gross annual rent on this is at $105,000, and the purchase price is $830,000. This is a great little place, actually, near West Palm. A lot of artists in this area. It kind of reminds me of like a little Key West, if anybody's been there. The Key West, which is another great advantage living in Florida. Key West is a short drive. So let's go through this one. So here's the financial breakdown on this one.
Can you zoom in a little bit?
What's that? Can I zoom in a little bit?
Yeah.
Here, I'm not sure if I can or not. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not really. Is that better? A little bit better?
A little bit. Okay, do your best. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So this one, like I said, the purchase price is $830,000. This 3 studios rent for $1,850 each a month. Okay, the 1-bedroom rents for $2,600 a month, and like these are on point, rental numbers. Now this is for annual, right? So the total rent would be $8,150. Now, here's the thing about this property in particular is there's only 1 electric meter and 1 water meter. So obviously the owner, the landlord, has to pay utilities, right? Well, the cool thing here in Florida is a lot of landlords now charge what's called a processing fee and utility fee, if that's the case. So they tack on an extra $150 a month for that. So that actually turns into the rent with the fee to $8,750 a month. Now your taxes on this are going to be about $700 a month. Your property insurance and liability, $450 a month. Your utilities then again are going to be about $100 a month each, so $400. Pest control, lawn maintenance, other maintenance, and then 5% property management fee and realtor fee, which a lot of landlords self-manage and rent their units out themselves. But I put that in there. Your mortgage here on this one, $830,000 with a $166 down, so that would be 20% down. Now this particular buyer is doing a 20-year at 6.75 mortgage, so this is his mortgage amount, $5,048. So your total expenses here, is $7,273 a month. So your net income, $1,477 a month, or $17,000 a year, or 11% cash on cash return. For this particular buyer, which
So you're putting that together for an investor of yours.
Mhm.
For the Canadians on here, it's unlikely probably 25 to 30% down, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the return much. It might lower the actual cash on cash return because we're putting up more cash, but it would increase actual amount of monthly cash flow anyway.
Yeah.
And it seems like from my quotes that I'm seeing from TD, roughly right about the same interest rates, around the 7 mark for Canadians. And we have some hookups for Canadians. I mean, I shouldn't say I have them. Ryan has them. I talked to his girl there, the TD girl.
Yeah, I got the contacts for that. I'll share too at the end of the presentation for sure. So that's just a good one. This is like your normal, annual rental multifamily, right? Which buyers are buying now, and they're going quick, as far as multifamilies here in West Palm Beach. So let's look at the next one. So this is a great option. I've actually sold a number of clients in this particular building. I love this one. This is downtown West Palm. Okay, this is literally, half a block from the Brightline station. So you can be to Miami and Orlando very quick. We're talking 5 minutes to the beach. I brought you right by this one, Paul. Actually, this is the one. one there at the square. I mean, there's some
I
great
remember all the
yeah, some amazing restaurants literally within, short walking distance to here. A lot of amenities, being near downtown. Of course, Palm Beach Island, which everybody knows, is right across the bridge. That's where Donald Trump's at. And everything's super close here. And these rent spectacularly well. Big thing about West Palm that I want, the viewers to know is there's very little hotels, in the West Palm Beach area. So short-term rental properties have great occupancy rates that they have near downtown. Now I'm figuring this one, and this is what my clients have had that own there now, is 85% or better. A lot of them I'm actually, they do really well on this one. Now the only thing about this property is I'm averaging 190 a night or 5,700 a month, but it is a minimum rental per the HOA, but you can still do short-term rentals of 30 night stays, 30 days, 30 nights per per lease. So, and they don't have to be in a row or anything like that. It just has to be 30 days. Now, the purchase price on this asset, I put in 430,000 or actually 430 to 450. It's still available right now. So let's look at the financial breakdown. Yeah, the financial breakdown, I actually put it at 450 just to be safe. So this is with a 20% down as well. Your closing cost here, 2250. Now the furnishings, the nice thing about this particular unit is it's already furnished, so you wouldn't have to buy a lot of furniture. You could do a few things to it, a few little bit of updates. I think spend $5,000 is fair. So your cash to close would be 97,000. Now this is at a 30-year rate, so I put the interest rate a little higher, 7.5. 30-year. This would be your loan amount, your principal and interest. Now your insurance for the interior, that's like your liability insurance, is $100 a month. Your tax is $428. Now, here's the average. It was $190 a night, okay, for one unit. Now I'm putting this at an 85% occupancy rate. So that would be a gross at the 85% occupancy at 58,000, okay? Now you do have a short-term tax, but everybody just adds that onto the amount, of the rent, and the tenants pay that. Now there is a maintenance fee with condos, obviously, an HOA fee, which can go up over time, so everybody knows that. But it includes your maintenance and your structural insurance. So you don't need to go and get outside structural insurance. That's $7,980 a year. Utilities are about $100 a month. Now I didn't put a management fee on this one because you're doing it about 12. Well, think about it. If it was 2 months vacancy, because you could come down and use this for 1 month if you wanted to, right? And then have another month vacant. I didn't put a management fee in there. The clients that were looking at this one, they're going to self-manage that because it would be only 8 bookings a year. You just have to line up a cleaning service, which everybody adds that to the stay as well down here. So this would be a net profit of $14,568 a year, or $1,214 a month. But you look on a cash on cash return, you're looking at almost 15% and cap rate of a little over 3%.
Can you go back a slide to the sort of picture of the place there with the details?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's interesting here, and I want to make sure people kind of caught that the minimum rental as per the HOA, and the HOA is like the, kind of like the condo management, we call something a little bit different, is like they're saying you can rent it, but the minimum stay for your tenant is 30 nights, similar to what they do in sort of Blue Mountain, if you know what that is, just to kind of regulate things and not have a hotel. But it seems like they're renting pretty well, and at that price point, it's attractive. And now this building, if I remember, it also has a pool, right?
Yeah, beautiful pool. They actually have a nice workout facility. They have a club, like a clubhouse that the tenants can use, and big screen TVs and stuff like that. So it's got the nice amenities. That's what people kind of like condos, because they have the nice pools and the amenities. And obviously people are paying these things for the as far as the location, right? Being downtown West Palm Beach is a great place to be. Where my office is where I'm actually having the webinar from right now. And so yeah, a lot of benefits right there.
Yeah, that's why I kind of liked it, is because if I'm there myself, and I'm there with my kids, I mean, we have a pool, we have amenities, we're not stuck in a little condo box, not knowing what to do. We can go to the beach, we can go here, we can go for restaurants, but we get to use the amenities there. So that was pretty cool.
or hop on the Brightline, go down to Miami up to Orlando.
No Miami with kids.
No Miami with kids, right? Mom and dad can get down there. Mom and dad early. I know. Yeah. There's a fun trip though that's not too far away is take a trip to the Keys. I used to live there back in my early 20s, did real estate down there as well. And that's an awesome trip. Just driving down there is going to take you about from West Palm all the way to Key West, about 4.5 hours.
We did. We made it to Isla Morada.
Yeah.
Before we,
Morada, close enough.
yeah. And before we was getting late, and we're like, okay, let's grab a room here. And then it was another couple hours to Key West, and we're like, nah, screw it, let's go back. The kids were losing their mind. But next time for sure.
It is. It's a beautiful drive, and I tell everybody, it's where, Jimmy Buffett. We just lost Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah,
famous Floridian. That's where he got us started and built his empire from just living in Key West. Amazing.
Yeah, the drive is fantastic. That's for sure.
It is. So it's a definitely highlighted coming down here. So yeah, so this is a great condo. It becomes furnished. Like I said, this one's like I said, it could be bought between 430 and 450. I modeled this one out at 450 on that one. So all right, so let's go to the next one. Now this is a single family home very close to downtown West Palm Beach. So this would rent really well. It's a single family, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I figured in about an 85% occupancy, so you could definitely come and use this yourself. Nice thing with this one is there is no HOA, right? So this is, you could rent this out whenever you want, right? You could come down and use it for a week and then rent it for a week, come and use it for a week, rent it for a week, whatever you want to do. There's no HOA here. And this is actually what's called Northwood, which I think I brought you by there, Paul. We drove through there. It's just north of downtown West Palm. So we're talking like a 5-7 minute drive, or short bike, or you could even walk from this to downtown West Palm, literally across the bridge. You're in Palm Beach Island. So it's a great location. Now this one is on the market right now for $395. So I actually modeled this out. This just went on the market. I modeled this out right at the list price of $395. Right. So here's the breakdown for this one. $395 with 20% down, your closing cost. Now this one is not furnished, so you would have to furnish it. So I put in $15,000. It has been updated on the inside, so I don't anticipate too many big, costs on updating. So your cash to close is about 100 grand. I did this one out at 30 years, 7.5. So your loan amount, your principal. Now you have your interior insurance and your taxes. Interior insurance you need, to protect the interior, and also your liability if your tenants or something get hurt. Now so this would be at $190 a night average too, because this is a 3-bedroom, right? So you can put in more beds, which is important for short-term rentals. A lot of couples will go in and rent a home together. So conservative, $190 a night, 85% occupancy. So right there, you're grossing $58,948. So your maintenance and insurance would be about $5,000 a year. Your utilities, about $100 a month. And then this one now, because this is more of a traditional short term, I put in a 15% management fee, that you have in there, right? So there's companies here that'll do it from 10 to 20%. I figured in 15%. Nice thing is they can handle the bookings for you, the cleanings, all that kind of stuff. So you can kind of be more hands off on this type one versus the condo. Just said you'd be renting out about 8 times a year, right? So it'd be a little bit more intensive, right? As far as doing like weekly rentals. And of course you charge the cleaning fee, you add those to the stay, the short-term tax, you add on those to the stay. But you're looking here on this at monthly $933 a month, or about 11.67 cash on cash return on this one.
Just a couple of thoughts on this one. I have some short-term rentals myself in the Caribbean, and they're not condos, and the condos in some of these Caribbean islands, I mean, they're not like the HOAs in Florida. I mean, they don't give you much options in terms of being in the rental pool or not, and they charge really high fees. So that wasn't kind of what we wanted to do, because we wanted to maximize the income. So and correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but the HOAs, especially in South Florida, most of them don't allow you to do any kind of short-term rental.
Correct.
I think you're lucky if you get some of these ones like that condo we just saw that allow you to do the minimum 30-day, and that works really well. So the single family stuff without the HOA is great, but then you know you got to take care of some stuff, and that's where the
Yep.
management fee comes in. Like for example,
Exactly.
on our couple properties, we have we pay the market's a little bit different in the Caribbean island we're in. You know, the usual rate is 25 to 30% because the gross revenue is higher, and there's a bit more work to do. But we
Hmm.
end up paying 15% because we handle the Airbnb. So
Hmm.
we handle all the bookings, and as soon as they book, we just transfer them off to the property manager, and that's it. But we handle the ads, which we have humming along really nicely. We answer questions, we do the booking, we give them information for check-in, and then boom, they're off to the property manager. So I think, in my view, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here, you know, if you want to do all the work to a property manager, it's definitely available to you. If you want to do all the work yourself, you could do that if you have some people on the ground to kind of, you know, open the door or handle any maintenance problems, or you could do a combination too. I'm sure you can kind
Hmm.
of arrange
Yeah,
that,
nice
right?
thing. I
So
mean, I help. I mean, I have some, back here at the at the condo. I have clients there. My office is literally 5 minutes here. I meet some of their tenants over there and just hand over the keys. There's a lockbox literally right at the, right in the lobby, that they have, so that tenants can pick up their keys real easily like that. So, yeah, nice thing, like I said, on this condo, this is only 8 times. Like if you used it, and had 1 month of vacancy, and then you used it 1 month, you'd have it only 8 times that you'd be renting it. So that's pretty easy,
yeah.
as far as that. Of course, the next one here, this would be more intensive with the single family home, but that's why we put in the management fees in there. So, but yeah, you'd have 55 days, 54 days that you could use it, theoretically you could use this, right? And still have a good, gross revenue. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And one more thing, like, you know, we do well with our stuff in the Caribbean, but the downside to that is you can't get financing. Well, you can get financing in the Caribbean, but it's not the kind of financing you want, right?
yeah,
In Florida, you know, just like actually the US is for financing is way better than Canada. There's a million more options. So,
yeah.
I mean, you can walk in there in a week, you're signing papers to close your property, like just like we're used to. So there's a ton of options for financing, which is why I'd like to spread my money a little bit further in Florida. But anyway, keep going.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, there's some great financing options which I want to share too. And I haven't talked about this, but I want to talk a little bit about this, about a lot of the investors that I have that use a platform. Is I actually created a platform called Real Trade, which is an online marketplace and social platform for real estate. We got thousands of users on it. So I tell you, think of it as basically as a Zillow kind of meets LinkedIn, but only for real estate. You can get connected with me there, other real estate professionals, lenders, attorneys, inspectors, appraisers, pretty much anything that you need for a real estate transaction. That was one big problem I was trying to solve was that with Real Trade, and I'm very excited about it. Like I said, I've been in real estate, as I mentioned earlier, for over 20 years. I launched Real Trade a couple years ago. I have a lot of great investors using it and taking advantage of it too. So here's my contact information here. This is my email. My phone number, it's also the same on WhatsApp, so you can definitely jot that down or take a screenshot. Feel free to contact me through that. And I did want to share this because we were talking about lending. Is we have a great, which you've talked to Lori, right, Paul? She's awesome. Obviously with TD, being from Toronto, they have a great presence here in Florida. Lori's pretty awesome. She's helped a lot of clients, especially Canadian clients, get loans for investment properties. So that would be definitely a big first step is talk to Lori. You can say, hey, Ryan and Paul sent me, and she can kind of work out some of the numbers. So, and go, hey, Ryan, I'm approved for 20 or 30% down. I'm looking at this interest rate. We can then go back to, our formulas here, right? And start looking and plugging these numbers in and start seeing what makes sense and go over goals and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, I believe we had some RBC mortgage brokers in our office on Monday actually, and
Mhm.
they're saying that they have a program through their affiliates also. So if RBC likes you, they'll help you out with the US side mortgages also, but the terms are generally the same. So the
Okay.
best terms I saw were basically 25% down.
Okay.
And, it was a 5-year term, and it was right around, 7%, 7.25, 7.09, something like that. So not much different than what you were describing.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can I share my screen, Ryan?
Yeah. Here. Hang on a second. Yeah. I know you wanted to go over some things here.
Paul, can
Yeah.
I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
You guys talk a lot about or touch on the HOA fees, and it looks like there's instances where you can pay it and instances where you cannot pay it. Like in the house situation, there were no HOA fees. I'm assuming that's a good thing, and you can do short-term rental versus in a condo, you have to pay that and you still have short-term rental. Probably, do you want to elaborate a little more on that? I'm just trying to wrestle with that a little bit. I understand maybe you're thinking in terms of condo fee, but it looks like there is restriction around short-term rental when there is HOA involved.
Yeah, I'll let Ryan share his perspective.
Yeah. No, that's important. So just so you know, most condos in South Florida, okay, a lot of them were built in the, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, right? And there was no short-term rentals at that time, right? It was like there was yearly leases. So they all put it in their condo declarations, their condo docs, that they have a certain stipulation that you can only rent it out once or twice a year. The good thing is about that example that I showed you, okay, is you can actually rent that particular condo out 12 times a year. You can actually rent it out 12 times a year. So 30 days at a time, right? So it's one of the few HOAs that allow that, but it's actually in their covenants, in their documents, that you're protected to be able to rent it out 12 times a year. And that's what people are doing. But every condo is different. I tell everybody, it's almost like condo associations are almost like little governments where they get together and come up with their own bylaws of how the association and the laws for the condo as far as renting and different things that they can come up with. You are right. I will say this too. Let me just add this too, Paul, is all homes in South Florida, okay? A lot of homes in South Florida have homeowners associations as well. The examples for that single family homes and that other multifamily one don't have associations. Now, this is kind of a little bit different, is the newer homes in South Florida usually have associations, and those ones will put in the rental restrictions. So you have to be a little bit particular, right? And talk to no professional, boots on the ground, right, of the rental restrictions, and then read those HOA docs. I tell everybody, you get an inspection period in Florida. So let's say you found a property, you love it, you put it under contract. You have like a 10-day window that you have to review those docs, and you have to make sure that all the dots are all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, that you can do the short-term rentals. But I will say this too, those association fees for the condos, which is nice, it includes your structural insurance. So you're not having to go out and buy additional insurance for your condo. It includes structural insurance. So heaven forbid, if a big storm did come and damage your condo, you are protected. Versus a single family home, you do have insurance that you need to buy, to protect your asset.
In Naples, there's a bunch of condos in South Florida here, especially up in North Miami, that they'll say short-term rentals allowed. When you look into it, it's the HOA and the condo management that runs the whole short-term rental, and you're either in their rental pool or you're not.
Yeah.
And the fees they charge you are like ridiculous, and it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. This particular one I shared you don't have to go in the rental pool. There is no rental pool there. It's actually everybody are kind of doing it on their own on Airbnb and different things, and you can see them online. But yeah.
So like a place like this, just next to West Palm Beach Gardens, and Ryan took me through there. Go a little closer.
There you go.
Palm Beach Gardens here, like most of all these nice houses are in an HOA. Like you go through gates, there's security, it's very nice. There's clubhouses and pools for everyone to use. Some of them are on golf courses, crazy shopping. But in the HOA, no short-term rental. And that's those people that buy there, that's what they want, right? So they don't want guys like me and you going in there and having guests, right? Which is fine. which is fine. So, you know, in areas like downtown West Palm Beach and some of these other areas, and the quick example I'm going to show you, there is no HOA. It's a traditional neighborhood, streets, shopping, nothing going on. You can do whatever you want as long as you're within the zoning of the area, just like you would back home, right?
So this is a good education me for HOA. So I think within the HOA there's restrictions. So if you find a place and there is no HOA, that's a good thing then.
It can be, definitely.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be more liberal as far as like, yeah, being able to, you know, rent it out short term and all those kind of good things for sure.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. That was good.
Yeah, no worries. So this is a program I use. This is called AirDNA. Okay, it's a subscription that you have to pay for to get all the data that you need to do research on some of these short-term rental properties. So let's say you're interested in one of these properties that you saw in Florida, or like, hey Ryan, I like that condo. You know, remember, we're a salesman. Don't believe anything we tell you. Nothing, right? Nothing. You can do the research yourself. Okay, you can use AirDNA. Come on here, literally pump in the address, and it'll give you some very good data. Now, the trick is you have to know how to interpret that data, because it's this data pulls an average of what's going on in an area. Example.
It's a big area. Like West Palm's a huge area on there.
Yeah, this is West Palm. You can see Lake Worth there. That's where Ryan showed you that first property just below West Palm. But see West Palm, it's saying average revenue is 70,000, average occupancy is 60%, and the average daily rate is 323. But Ryan showed you options that were a little bit different than all this. So, you know, sometimes you'll get averages, and if you punch in an address, which I'll show you in a second, it'll give you what this program thinks it could earn, and the average occupancy you should have. So it's a metric. It's not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive in here. 1 sec. I'm gonna try and before we go there, just on a bigger map, just so you see, Miami's down here and West Palm is here. Okay, you're crossing all the beach towns to kind of get there. You know, I made this drive about 3 or 4 times. So if there's traffic, it's not great. Just like driving Hamilton to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back to the map.
Like I said, take the high-speed train now. It's such an awesome experience. I can't say enough good things about the Bright Line.
I was just going to say, Paul's probably working getting a boat now.
That's right. Sorry, I got to reset this thing.
No problem.
Stay down here. Station.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm just looking at West Palm Beach here to give you an example of what kind of data you can get, and then we'll look at a property example. So it gives you how's this market performing, right? It's just an indicator. I mean, don't pay attention too much to it, but you can see annual revenue, okay, occupancy rates, okay, average daily rates. That's really good. Okay, total number of listings. This is an important number for me because based on demand, I want to know if my market is saturated or oversaturated, or sorry, undersaturated or oversaturated. I don't want to be in a market that's oversaturated, because then it's going to be more difficult for me to get the kind of income and occupancy I need. Okay, this is also really good data, right? 55% of people are using Airbnb, 20% VRBO, and 26% both. Okay, listing rentals by size. You can see most people are in that 1, 2, 3 bedroom range, right? And if you dive deeper into the statistics, you can see where the best income is. Maybe there's super high demand for 4 bedrooms, but not enough of them. And this is where data really plays in and can help you. Or maybe there's no demand for 4 bedrooms and a 4 bedroom is a really terrible idea. I'd like to know that, right? So listings by availability, minimum stays. This is also a good one. Like in my Airbnbs, most times there's a 3-night minimum stay or a 5-night minimum stay. So, in South Florida is a bit different. You can come for 1 or 2 nights. It's not a big deal, right? Amenities that people offer, right? If everyone's got air conditioning, obviously you need air conditioning in Florida. Like, what kind of crazy person would you be, right? If you're advertising that your place is great for families, but you don't have a kitchen, you're in trouble, right? So these are some things to know. Look at 30. This is a huge one for me. 34% offer a pool. Well, if my place has a pool, do you think I'm going to get a premium for that? Hell yeah, right? You might pay a premium on the price, but you might make it back and you might be able to, enjoy that premium when you go down there and use it too. Okay. Occupancy rate. Listen, there's a bunch of data here. It's important to kind of understand this stuff and dive in so that when you're making a decision on short-term rental, that you got the data behind you. Okay. Now I'm going to plug in an address just for fun. Okay. I just pulled one up that I thought would be interesting to kind of look at from a data perspective. So this is just north of West Palm Beach in the Jupiter area.
Yeah, Jupiter, which is a nice area.
Yeah, it's nice area. Like below this line is kind of Jupiter. So it's just there. And why I picked this out, because it has 5 bedrooms and it has a garage. Okay. I'm going to go through the pictures a second and just show you what I see. And feel free to comment also, just in case, Ryan. So it's a corner lot. That's no big deal. Obviously, it's very close to the water. This is, as the crow flies, it's what, a mile and a half to the water. If you're
that's Jupiter Island Beach right there. Yeah, it's great.
Correct. So the beach is not far, and there's lots of Airbnbs in and around here. And driving to the beach is not a big thing. Like, you don't have to be a soccer ball kick away from the beach for you to have beach access. There's lots of public beach accesses around here. And Ryan knows more of them than I do, but I drove around and I saw lots of them. You park your car, you get your stuff, you go to the beach, get in your car, go back home. No big deal. That's not a downside. Okay. So pool. First thing I saw, I'm like, wow, pool. And it's got the mesh cover. Fantastic. In the backyard here. If it was me, I would put like a play structure for kids under some shade if I can. And I might fence this in a little bit, but that's icing on the cake. Inside, I like, because it's almost turnkey. It's tiled. I don't have to worry about it. It's clean. It's not busted anywhere, right? Pool looks good. Lots of space for a patio table and lounging chairs and all that kind of good stuff. Okay. Inside looks good, clean. Dining room looking out to the pool, perfect. Kitchen was nice. I mean, I might change these knobs, put like a silver color, get rid of these silly drapes here, make sure it's clean. Maybe change this oven out to stainless steel, put a proper over the range microwave, some small stuff like that. Just spice it up, because the kitchen shots really make you money on Airbnb. And, I'd want these cabinets adjusted to make sure they're opening and closing properly and good to go. That's the one thing I did notice that may or may not need some maintenance. The fridge is there, good stainless steel, and there's a pantry back there. That's all good stuff. This is, I know, because we have 2 of these things. If there's a pantry, I'm like, yes, I put a door on there. I get to lock up my stuff so nobody can touch it. Because if I go back and forth to the house all the time, I want to leave some of my own stuff there. Peanut butter, almond butter, all the protein powder, all the stuff that I use that I don't want to truck with me every time. Okay. I might ask for some of their Florida furniture too. But anyway, bathrooms are clean. Nothing to do. Nothing fancy. Nice showers. Okay, where's that floor plan? Here we go. Love this floor plan. So inside, you got that big common area, right? Bedroom, bath. The side entry here with a closet. Another entry here through the garage. And then the master bedroom has a big walk-in closet. Again, its own bath, which is fantastic. and then the 4th bedroom down here that kind of connects to this 5th bedroom in this garage. I'm thinking,
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, now maybe you know what I'm thinking. I'm like, this garage connects well. I can lock this garage and keep it for myself. I can lock this room, make it a 4-bedroom rental, and have this as a lockout unit just for me that I can use whenever I want. It has a bathroom there, access through the garage. I can get the hell out of there, and no one's going to see me, right? So when I saw that, I was like, holy crap, this would be a great example just to show people, what to look for in terms of Airbnb.
Good example. Very good example, Paul.
Yeah, I like
And
this.
location wise, yeah, I mean, I take my son up to Blowing Rocks. There's like a little state park there right on the beach called Blowing Rocks. And it's awesome snorkeling. They have like a little coral reef right off the beach there, which is nice.
Yeah, and just so we see for legit, like Old Dixie Highway, this is the road that we're going on, and then
There's US 1 right here. Yeah, that's your main drag.
there's US 1. So like you're driving out here to here to here to here to the beach.
Yep.
And then you got God knows how much beach here. You can
There's
do
crystal clear water on that intercoastal too. There's a couple, like right here at the lighthouse, right in the corner. There's the famous Jupiter Lighthouse, which we drove by.
Yeah.
That's a great spot. It's like a park, and you can climb the lighthouse. Jupiter's a gorgeous spot. And like I said, from West Palm, you're 25 minutes, from West Palm Beach.
I remember when I took this South Beach Road and we stopped somewhere around here. There were people swimming on this side.
That side, yeah.
All along here, because there was no waves. You know what I mean? It was
and
just
it's super clear because look, see how you're close to the inlet like there. So that's just a really beautiful clear water there. It's actually that one Jimmy Buffett song. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I don't know if people remember that. They actually shot that video right over here on the Jupiter Inlet, right there. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, for location wise, I just want people to give some perspective. That is, we're not talking about something 20 minutes away from the beach or anything. So now we're like, oh, okay, hey, that looks great, Paul. I don't believe anything you tell me. I want to see some data. Well, here we go. Look at that. Evaluate a market, property earning potential. Okay, so I'm literally putting it in. It finds the address. And let's hope it does something. They changed this whole layout now. So this is like the 3rd time I'm seeing it. I'm a little bit confused. So don't hate me. So this is giving it a market score of 64. Again, this means nothing to me. I just want to know if I can make money. And a property earning projection of 88,000. I made a video on this property, and my projection based on my research and the way I kind of operate was somewhere on the low end of 80 to 100,000. And if you do really well, somewhere between 100 to 120,000. And I kind of agree with this average rate. And you got to remember that this is an average rate. So like in high season, in like the spring and the summer months, this might be 500-600 a night. Whereas in the lower season, you might be 200 or 250 a night. So this is an average, okay? The whole key to get this up to 100, 120 grand is to get this occupancy rate up, right? Or you have to jack up your daily rate and keep your occupancy where it is. But I mean, you can't be hundreds of dollars more than, the dude beside you and expect that to rent unless you're offering something that they're not, right? Like, what else can you do to this property? They're all going to be fairly similar. The pool is obviously going to get you more money, but that's kind of built in here. So my thing is to get this up to 80 to 85%. And you're laughing. I'm just going to do some math on the calculator here. I don't know if you can see it, but if I do 0.8 times 365 days a year, that's 292 days times the nightly average of 388. That gives me $113,296 in gross income. That's where I want to be, right? And that's 80%. So remember, just to give it some exact math here, let me do it again. If I do 20% times 365, that's 73 days in the calendar open that I can use the property. Okay. And, I can come here for a week, use the property, go back home, come for another week, come for another week.
During the winter, they have direct flights from Toronto right into West Palm Beach, right? And they're very affordable.
I don't know if it's direct to West Palm yet. I might be wrong. If
No, in the
someone's
winter, I believe in the winter they do, because I know Charles.
you're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, in the winter months, in the high season, there is direct. Otherwise, off season, you go straight to Fort Lauderdale and you're driving for 35 minutes. It's not a big deal.
An extra about, extra 35 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, you know, this is telling you operating expenses might be around 30%, which is not such a bad estimate. Okay. Net income could be 57% or 57,000, excuse me, 58,000 almost. And it gives you some really nice numbers. Now, I'm not a salesman for AirDNA here. Like, I'm just telling you, it's a great tool to use if you want to figure out what's going on and you do some due diligence. Okay. Look, what amenities do comparable short-term rental listings have? I mean, you'd be crazy not to want this data. Okay. Look at that dryer. Only half of the people are offering people a dryer. Okay, because you can dry your stuff outside. That's not a huge deal. Half of people are offering a pool. So I always want a pool. A hot tub. Can you get an extra 20, 30 bucks a night because you have a hot tub?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love hot tubs when I travel. You know, I do personally, especially later.
These are ads. Look, these are comparable offerings. 4-bed, 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 4-bed. So this is where it's pulling its data from to kind of give you some more traction, right? And then on this map, what I like is it's pulling up other Airbnb offerings, right? Like it's telling you what the revenue is. But you can't read too much into the revenue thing because you don't know how these people operate. Like, this makes no sense. These 98% occupancy at $200 a night and making 21,000, that doesn't make too much sense to me, to be honest with you. So this makes sense. 50% occupancy, 45K projected revenue. That looks like accurate data to me.
I like that they put near the pickleball court.
Right, yeah, near the pickleball court.
People love pickleball down here now. It's blowing up.
Yeah. I never understood that one, but okay, whatever. Anyway, that's a quick example. So when you're looking at this kind of stuff and you've let me stop sharing here so I can talk to you directly. My big thing when you're looking at a place like Florida or somewhere you've never been before is you kind of have to go there and see what you like, see what areas you like. Maybe you like West Palm Beach, you go down there and you're like, wow, this place is great. And you're like, oh, Jupiter is just as good. Or Fort Lauderdale, which is not that far away, 40 minutes away, this is even better, right? Or you're like, maybe like, I hate this area, take me to Sarasota or on the other side or Naples or whatever. So you got to go check it out. But investment wise, you can do a lot of that research right with your bum in your seat in Canada, right? It's that personal feel that you got to go down there and figure out. And many of you guys have been following me for many years, so I'm all about ROI, okay, return on lifestyle. These kind of investments are return on lifestyle for me. I want to go and make a good return on my income, but if I can go with my family and still earn the kind of money that I expect to earn while still using it for my family and getting out of the winter, like I don't know what more you could ask for. So that's my rant for the night. Let's open it up for some questions here. I see some more coming in. Hey Ryan, do you service Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, no, I service all of South Florida. I've sold a lot of real estate from basically through the Florida Keys up through about Port St. Lucie. That is the areas that I've covered. But yeah, I've sold a lot of real estate in Miami as well.
Does a lawyer review the HOA docs or does the buyer?
You can hire an attorney to review the docs if you want. I actually have some great real estate attorneys that I've worked with for many years. A couple right on the Real Trade platform as well, but I would review them myself. They're not usually too complicated to read. They really put out there too, the frequently asked questions. They usually put those right front and center on the condo docs, and then also your restrictions, right? Of your restrictions, because that's something that everybody wants to know.
It's not a bad question, Rory. And maybe if it's your first time, maybe you pony up $500 and pay the lawyer to do it just for some peace of mind. And then, if you keep buying stuff, then it becomes, that much easier for you. Right. Let's see.
Tyson, yeah, you asked about if the cash flow is the same as West Palm versus Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, I mean, I think West Palm is a little bit, I would say a little bit better, as far as cash flow, because the price points are lower. The rents are about the same that you get. West Palm, something special that I want to tell people about West Palm areas. We have a lot of people that don't like Miami in South Florida that live down there. They're actually moving up here to West Palm to get away. Well, we have a lot of people from the north too that are coming this way as well. Obviously, a lot of vacationers as well coming to West Palm. So we're kind of getting it from just multiple directions here as far as on the equity side and on the rental market.
Miami's great, amazing for 3 days.
It's
Then
that.
like, get me out.
People don't, it's a true thing. People are leaving. I mean, that's why the Bright Line is so busy right now, because a lot of people are like, you know what? Why have my kids down in Miami going through this craziness down there when I can live in West Palm? I'll just take the train down, down to work 2 or 3, 4 days a week, and then I'm fine. So, yeah.
But who was asking that question? Tyson, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Tyson, like if you think about it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, or if you might not have perspective on this, but like West Palm Beach to Fort Lauderdale is not that far. You're talking like Toronto to Oakville. Like it's
Well,
not far. It's at all. Like it's not like you're like, oh my God, it's so far away, I can't go there. Like we were going back and forth from there all the time when we were there. It was just
yeah.
just a drive, right?
I will say this too. I just, while we're on West Palm that we have, what's right across the bridge is Palm Beach Island, which is a real special place. It's 33% of the US wealth owns a piece of property over there. So it's a very wealthy area, but some of the finest restaurants of anywhere in the United States, some of the nicest hotels and things to do is right there across the way too. They don't have that in Miami and Fort Lauderdale like they do here. So,
I just drove to Palm Beach Island and tried to get into Trump's place.
right. I bike by his place probably about 2 to 3 days a week, actually.
They wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
Rory, Rory says asking if you cover Orlando, and is that considered South Florida?
Yeah, no, I don't cover Orlando. That's considered, yeah, Central Florida. It's not too far. It's about like 2 hours away. The high-speed train, it'll be probably a little bit under than that. But yeah, Orlando's a totally different market than we have here. I think you have it similar too, and I think in Toronto where you have that green zone, so you can't build, so you're kind of getting wedged in there. Well, we have something similar here in West Palm, is we have the Everglades that are west of us, right? We have the ocean that's east of us, so everything's kind of built up, as far as West Palm. That's why you're seeing some great, proper appreciation. Thing with Orlando, which I want people to be aware of, is they have a lot of orange groves. They have a lot of land. So they're always building new construction. Those plow over an orange grove. So when you do go to sell, you're going to be always competing with new construction, that's being built.
Yeah, what I noticed in Orlando, and I spent a good amount of time there twice. I was there doing, obviously enjoying myself and researching also, is that yeah, they don't have nearly as many, tall buildings because they can just spread out. Even multifamily, they have these huge swaths of multifamily and it just covers land. They're just a 3-story walk-up style with like blocks. It looks like a resort, right? It's cool, but they don't need to build up. Good for them, right? But what's interesting about that is there's very, very, very little multifamily inventory, like almost none. So if you're looking for like a triplex, fourplex kind of thing, it's like almost nothing, right? And a lot of the rental market there, I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's a lot of the Disney rentals. So you see those kind of property managed, totally run by the HOA kind of things, where you go in, you put some money down, you use it yourself a couple weeks a year, and the rest of the time it's rented, and you get a bit of a return, right? They had some single family rentals there, but I think in terms of variety for a real estate investor, like the different strategies you can do, there's more in South Florida. There's even more in Miami. Like there's multifamily, there's office, there's retail, there's commercial, there's everything. And it's true also in West Palm, where Orlando was kind of, not that many options. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we have more of a metropolitan feel here, but yeah, I definitely want to say, like, on the capital appreciation side here, for West Palm, it's becoming more popular. They're calling it now Wall Street of the South. I mean, Goldman Sachs just took a whole floor of a new Class A office building here right by my office. A lot of hedge funds are moving down here too. So yeah, multiple directions. something I'd want people to be aware of.
And do you have to get flood insurance in West Palm area?
Yeah, so flood insurance, nice thing about Florida now, they literally have it to almost the house level of if you need to get flood insurance or not. It's all going to depend on how, your elephant, how high the house is above the flood zone of whether you need to get flood insurance or not.
Okay, so is that clear to you, like in an MLS listing, like, hey, this area is a flood zone, you have to get flood insurance or not? Okay.
Not always, no, but there's a map actually that online that you can actually type in the address and it'll tell you if you're in like an extreme, flood zone and have to buy the additional, flood insurance.
Okay, so but there is insurance available.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the insurance costs, like I said, it depends too a lot on the asset itself, right? If it's if it's got hurricane shutters, right? What quality is the roof? Is it hip roof and different types of construction? It's going to depend on the insurance. The type of construction, concrete or wood construction, the location as far as, if it's in a flood zone, if it's not in a flood zone, there's a couple of different things that go into it. I tell everybody they'll get multiple bids, on your insurance, because I've seen them vary widely from insurer to insurer.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody have any more questions? What is the qualification process like for Canadians? If property cash flows and there's 25 to 30% down, can the building qualify itself similar to commercial? I think you're asking, Devin, is if can they use a DCR calculation? Can they use a debt coverage ratio? That's commercial financing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there is DCR approach. I've had, foreign investors use that approach before, more on multifamily, but I guess they could see it too, right? If it's a short-term rental, property too, as well, that they might be able to do it that way.
I mean, I couldn't answer that for certain, but I do remember asking this question to that gentleman, the mortgage broker you connected me with, Ryan. I forget the guy's name.
I gave you about 3 or 4 of them, I think. Yeah, one of them.
I think his name was also Ryan, wasn't it?
Ryan Brown. Yeah, Ryan Brown.
Yeah, that's it.
Country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked him this, and he said yes, there are kind of semi-private lenders who will look at it at DCR, might be a bit higher rates and that's it. And you don't want to put up any of your own collateral, or how do you mention that? No, they would do a DCR only, but it's a bit of a higher down payment or a higher rate or a combination or something like that. But if you can qualify on the residential rate, you better just take it anyway. Right?
Yeah.
My perspective. You're welcome. Napal says thank you. Yeah. So put your questions through, guys. We're finished our end of the presentation. If you have questions, put them through, chat, unmute yourself. Otherwise, I think we've covered everything we want to cover. And I will email this recording to you. Definitely include Ryan's contact information, and you guys can reach out to him. And Ryan's really great. And I'm volunteering you. I'm sorry, but if you're down there in West Palm Beach, you want to meet Ryan, buy him a coffee. He'll take you out for a property tour.
I love giving the tours. That's actually one of my favorite things. It's like David Paul, and I've been with a lot of, like I said, foreign investors, Canadian investors, especially when you come here the first time and see it. It's just like a pleasure to show all these cool things to do and fun places to see, because there's a lot of them,
That's right.
here in West Palm for sure. And be happy to give you the tour if you come in for a day or two. And I've had a lot of clients do that over the years. I've had a lot of clients too then that said, we're looking hard, they want to find something. And then the cool thing is they buy them sight unseen, right? I'm doing, the presentations over FaceTime or over Zoom, and they're looking through everything. And then obviously you lock the property up, and then you have an inspection period, fly back down, walk through the property and make sure you like everything, and then decide at that point if you want to move forward or not.
Yeah. Common. Devin has a good question. Any idea on the tax implications for Canadian? I'm not an accountant, Devin, neither is Ryan, but I do know there is the US Canada has a tax treaty, and I'll sum it up. If there's any accountants on here, please correct me or give more detail if you wish. But the tax treaty basically makes it so that you are not double taxed. you're paying the tax once and you're not paying tax twice in the US and in Canada. That's ridiculous. Nobody would ever want to invest otherwise. So, but talk to your accountant on that, Devin. And if you don't have one who understands that, shoot me an email. I can hook you up.
Oh.
Aleem Haji, man, I haven't seen you in a long time, buddy. What is the recommended corporate structure for Canadians investing in the US? Oof, buddy, I'd assume you'd get an LLC, but again, that's an accountant question. That's a tough one, buddy. I can't give you much detail there, but an LLC is probably a good place to start.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of my investors buy under LLCs, which you can transfer them later on to your LLC later on as well. You know what I mean? You don't have to have the LLC figured out. You could do a property under contract, put it as your name, and then put and/or assigns. And then once you get a deal together, then open up the LLC and then transfer it over into that LLC at closing.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of clients that literally open up an LLC for every single property they own.
Yeah, I've heard of that too.
Yeah.
Paulo, is there down payment assistance for Canadian investors in Florida? I don't know what that means. Like, you mean is there like a CMHC program, like 10 down payments, 5% down payments?
I will say this, in America, what we have some pretty awesome programs. We have the FHA loans that are 3% down. Obviously, Americans. We also have what's called the Hometown Heroes program, where we have down payment assistance for like people that are in the medical field, cops, different people like that we have down payment assistance. But I have never heard of one for as far as foreign nationals.
Yeah, I don't know if you would qualify for that, Paulo, for the FHA at 3% or whatever it is, or any of those other programs. So it's not a bad question. It just that's a question for the mortgage broker. I mean, they'll try and put you in the best program they can. Yeah,
share Lori's, too. You can share a couple too that I put you in contact with too. I tell everybody too on the mortgage side, get a bunch of different quotes, talk to 3 or 4 or 5 of them, get a good feel, somebody that you feel comfortable with as far is on the mortgage side. That's a big one.
Yeah. I think you missed that part, Paulo. 20% is standard. I mean, if you're an American, or if you're a Canadian investing in Canada, but as a Canadian investing in the US, you're probably 25 to 30% down realistically as a foreign national. And the banks they're not afraid to lend to Canadians. So there are programs there, but I haven't seen one that is 20%. Do they check on what you own in Canada as well? Probably. They're probably going to want to do have some background on you. How that's going to implicate, and if they do a debt coverage ratio formula, I don't know. But again, that's a question for the mortgage broker. They can give you more detail. If I could give you detail, I would. What else, guys? All good questions, by the way. There's some shy folks who don't want to unmute themselves.
I want you to come down to Florida and show you a good time. Like I said, that return on life, right? that's the big one down here. That's something that I tell people that I've talked to a lot of Canadians and of course people from Minnesota, where I'm originally from. The first time you come down here and see it and experience, all the different, quality of life, it goes so much further.
Yeah, it is great. So we'll end it there. If you have questions, you know how to get a hold of us, and I'll give you Ryan's contact. When you go see Ryan, bring him some maple syrup or something.
Yeah.
Like
wild rice too. Like I grew up eating wild rice in Minnesota. We don't get that down.
Anyways, thanks guys for joining, and thanks Ryan for being here, man. I appreciate it. And
thanks for having me on, Paul.
We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Ciao, ciao.
Yeah, bye.